Now, the high cost of living has forced many Kayaye to self-medicate or prescribe medications for their children. Kayayo Bintu, 28, says because she cannot afford to visit the hospital, she buys adult antibiotics, splits them in halves, and gives them to her son whenever he has diarrhea. She told Jojo Kobina that she wants to send her son to her relatives in Savelugu, but she doesn't have the money to start the journey.
Ubekasa 6 million, 6 million there, ubetimato there, that will be friend.
28-year-old Bintu is a head porter. She's taking a brief break from work to care for her 1 year and 6 month-old son, who is suffering from diarrhea. Bintu says she intends to take her son to the village to be cared for by relatives. She intended to travel to Savelugu in February 2022. But transportation is a problem due to high fuel cost.
Shami kurum, ukita 3 million, won't even draw kurum. This are ukita sika, and can be ban by coffee, but scanning ho.
However, there's a larger issue at hand.
Me ban 1 year, 6 months. So I need to mean you are anyway. But scanning here, na me got tablets named Benuno. Scanning ho.
A doorway wind there.
I am a bad idea.
Never know Ubano.
Only something beautiful. Oh, didn't call special best dinner. Lord, hey, look at that 5 million crampo now. Some woman who made me a kayayo, or maybe charging me cigar, say, minting this amicosra.
She divides the amoxicillin capsules and gives half to her child. This isn't the first time she's doing something like this.
What do you say? A drawway in Pennyphone, I say,
a pa. What do you say? Minim. So me kita drone me say almost 25 15 going, but sikani ni hunting na me kita no me be chi me mano no me bia na ma fie kitwa bia go na ma di mano.
Antibiotics are supposed to be prescribed medication, but she got it off the counter. Also, capsules should not be split in half.
So certain drugs have harsh content. Their contents are quite harsh to the stomach lining or the GI lining. So then they are formulated in the form of capsules that the capsule are done in such a way that they then protect the drug from harming the patient's GI tract or their stomach lining before it's being broken down and then absorbed into the body and a whole lot. So it's actually not an ideal procedure for people to open capsules and pour the content into water to drink. Depending on the solution used to mix the drug for the patient, and when a child takes it, it could lead to like severe abdominal cramps. And also sometimes if the content is so harsh, it could even affect their mouth, it sores their mouth and stuff like that. Yes.
Again, the medication is prescribed based on the weight of children, but due to poverty, Bintu throws caution to the wind.
I had to tambale 1.6. We see tambale by Uber coming 150. Uber so Uber top bread who in fear now who kitwa we were jauba fear we bet my quasa. Now to bibi biscuit crack or mano. Won't mean yes, sir. This I would to be aqua dadano. The ben belco dear. Minis can bear than alcohol. But Sanya my breast, go with the bema, almost one niska. No pesa on your swan, no I jalo, but no I swan did. Until I could tell 2 city point now, I say, oh, swasa, obey swa, also paid the BBID.
Many of her friends here are in the same situation. They want to take a break and return home to work on their farms before returning to Accra to carry goods for a living.
Sakina, it's the same.
Sakina is in a food business. She stopped carrying goods for a living. The food business had been struggling recently due to rising grocery prices.
Niama bia ne boy din sisi anwa hwewe ukotowe esire Anwa aba nyama ne boy de. Ye pen pa cho se on to see nyama. E sa ento me ko yekuro. Anwa ne kasie ne 15 cedi. Na we 8 cedi. Ko first na we 3 cedi. We 3 cedi. Na ba ko na 2 cedi.
She yearns to visit home and spend time with her family, but she has not saved enough money.
Ye pen pa cho on yesene nyama ne nya enkofo. Lord fe na enkofo. Ekofo ndi na bibia ko yetima anya sika na ebe ko nukuru.
Amina worked here as a head porter before retiring. She's now been caring for children of Kayaye for several years, so they can have peace of mind to work and eke out a living. She charges them 2 cedis per day, which includes food. She, however, wants them to pay 4 cedis per day, but her clients say they cannot pay, so she gets almost nothing caring for the children. Nana Poku works at the Great Imperial Bus Station at Agbogloshi. The bus terminal was sited there for strategic reasons. But for the past 3 months, business to the north has been slow because of rising fuel costs.
For now, on a good day, a maximum of 5 on a good day. But previously, we used to do 7, 8, or maybe 9 in a day. Yeah, but for some reasons now they are not traveling in their numbers. The increment in the fare is a major reason. So once they get here, they ask of the price and then they just go back. After telling them the prices, and then they just tell you I'll be back, but they won't be back. So to avoid buying more fuel, wasting money on fuel, we combine all of them into one bus, and then we drop them at their destinations, various destinations. But on a good day, that bus will just be only one destination. Yeah, but for today, only I think four destinations.
Workers from Ghana's northern regions in Ghana, here in this community, are pleading with government to address economic challenges so they can return home frequently. Jojo Kopner, Joy News.
Now, joining us for more on this is the president of the Coalition of NGOs in Health, Brett Emisa. Thanks for your time, sir. Now, how huge is this problem of lack of access to health care due to poverty? Hello, sir. I'm sure you'd have to unmute so we can hear what you're telling us. I'm trying to find out from you, how huge is the problem of lack of access to health care because of poverty?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me now? Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So we want to find out from you, how huge is the problem of cost of access to health care due to poverty?
Thank you, and then good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. This is a very huge problem in Ghana at the moment as we find ourselves in a very critical economic situation. You agree with me, the economy is run on the trade that people do, what they sell, what they buy, and then how they are able to manage things with their families. But what do we see ourselves today? I mean, there's a huge cost of burden on items. Everything that we want to buy or sell comes with an additional cost. There's a serious increase in prices of goods and services. And this is really affecting health services. And so we see from where we sit as a civil society umbrella organization, Ghana Coalition of NGOs, that there's high dependence on local herbs. These marginalized and vulnerable people in society are depending so much on local herbs because they cannot visit the facilities. They are sharing drugs that are or medicines that are prescribed for their colleagues and have not been able to use all of them, and with the assumption that they are the similar or conditions, or they share similar symptoms with them. And they are also abusing drugs. They buy from anywhere, sometimes not even the prescribed over-the-counter sellers, but any shop that they come across, they want to buy what is there, they see as drug. They are doing self-treatment. They are not going for testing and treatment. They are resorting to prayer camps. Now people are just entering prayer camps for healing and all those things. And then because of also the high cost of transportation, they are not even able to board vehicles to the nearest health facilities to access things. And most of them too are not even having the health insurance. So it's a huge challenge on society as we speak.
These people are KIAs, and of course we understand that they should be earning something from what they do. But do we know the underlying factor or factors that are contributing to where they are today in terms of not even being able to afford the cost of healthcare?
Yes, it's largely due to hardship or due to the economic situation we find ourselves today. You know, these KIAs always carry their tray or their pan and then go around the communities and then are hanging around the lorry stations to carry for one person or the other, and so the person could also pay them. But what do we see today? People who are well-to-do either hire the vehicle closer to the shop and park their things in and move, or those ones who cannot hire the vehicle attempt to walk along with their younger children or siblings to carry them accompaniment to wherever they are moving. So there's very little for them to do at the moment. And also now, if people bargain with them and they are not able to meet their demand, then they are tempted to carry them by themselves. Largely, a lot of people are not buying at all. So they are not able to buy in that larger quantities that will help them to hire the service of a KIA. So they will buy the small quantity that they will need just for the day or two, and in that capacity they will be able to carry them by themselves and go along with it. So there's no much job for these people who depend on the other working class that provide them services and pay them, and hence resulting to that difficulties that we find ourselves doing.
But what does this say about our social services in relation to the living conditions of these KIAs?
So it's incumbent on government to have found some social activities. For instance, people who were put on the leave and then the other social services, are we able to track whether they are even receiving some reward for the services that they have already enrolled them for? And is the government rolling out any further interventions to address these hardships in the society, especially for these marginalized and vulnerable people in society? We are just talking about the KIA. We have children who have dropped out of schools. We have pregnant teenage mothers. We have persons living with disabilities. We have women in general, and then the age group. They all fall within this category of vulnerability or vulnerable group of people. But we have even just sampled out the KIA, which we see to be more critical. If you go to the communities and then the households, you see that the challenge is more escalating than we see now, because they are not within the working group where we can find them on the streets, but they are sitting in their homes and in the communities and are very poor, and some of them are very sick, and it is very critical we look at what we can do moving forward to address some of these challenges.
The National Health Insurance Scheme was brought to help people in these circumstances. How has it been of help to them, and what else can we do to help, alleviate the challenges that these people go through?
Yes, so the insurance is covering a number of people who are described as indigent, and we might be tempted to say it is covering everybody, but no, there is still a huge number of people who are there and doesn't fall under the indigent class, or they fall under it but are not enrolled. So what do we need to do? If you are holding the insurance card, that is not all. Accessing health services is not just the insurance card. It depends on accessibility of the facility to you. And people would have to board vehicles when they are very weak. When you are sick, you are weak naturally. So it is not something that you have control over your own self in walking distances to access the facility. So they will still need some amount of support in terms of funds to be able to carry themselves to the facilities that they will use the insurance card. They need some money to eat. They need to eat good food to get the energy that will carry them on. They need the support of community and then their caregivers or friends. And all this comes as a result of funds. So the critical situation here is that they don't have that money to even board a taxi to the nearest health facility and use their insurance card if they have to access the services. So it's just gone beyond the insurance card, and we have to look at how we can actually support them nutritionally and then financially to be able to carry their services and access health as well in general.
Interesting. If government is asking you for a proposal, what would be your proposal? Outside of all that you've said, what would be that one proposal from you that can help us deal with this?
So I only want to, before I send in our proposal, I only want to caution government that there is a likelihood of an increased IPD cases in the near future. A lot of people who are not able to access OPD services today will be burdened with the disease, and it will still stay with them until they get critical and then they are admitted. And then there would also be high mortality and morbidity moving forward. And then we should anticipate that if we are not able to do anything to come to their age, then there's also going to be increased hypertension in society. Everything resulting as in the form of hardship could render a lot of people's BP moving and high, and the possibility of mental health challenges in our society. We find a lot of people walking by the street and talking. We call them and they cannot hear, and we think, oh, they are well dressed, so they are okay. They are not okay. So we would propose moving forward that now that we are finding ourselves in this critical situation, there should be increased community education and sensitization of preventive health. People should be spoken to.
Unfortunately, I think we've lost him there. You're still watching the Joy News desk. Okay, so I think that the line is okay. Yeah, we lost you a little. You were talking about you thinking that there has to be education, for them to understand what's happening.
Community education on preventive health. And then they should also increase education on wellness clinics. I mean, people can easily, I know government through the Ghana Health Service has introduced a wellness clinic in many of their health facilities. It is a walk-in checkup video application to link people to that so they could do their basic health checkups to know what is happening to them before they look at what they want to do. But largely, government is supposed to roll out a survival plan or package for these group of indigents and the vulnerable people in society, the KIAs, persons living with disabilities, children, women, the aged, and those class of people are what we call vulnerable in society. And then we have a huge data which we can access to look at the group that we want to help. We can start with the KIAs as we are talking about their situation today. They should have a survival package so that we know that for whatever situation, if they can even feed, they can be provided with a meal a day, and then some incentives, some support, financial support, to help them to at least move on and week by week in the market. And I think that will really help us in this situation until we are able to, economy and get out of the situation that we are in.
Would you also agree to proposals that, in addition to the education that we are offering them, we should move along with, basic health, healthcare services, such that we don't need to have them leave their zones or wherever they are to come to the health centers. Would you agree to such a proposal? Move the health centers to them.
That is great. It's one of the first things we can even do, aside the other proposals that we are making. We know where these groupings are, and then the facility is now supposed to move closer to them. So if we take, for instance, in Accra, if we look at Tama Station, if we look at where they sleep in the evenings and other things, we can do mobile clinics for them. So we move the services to them, and it's free. So we challenge them through education, and then tell them, come, we'll do the normal PP checks, the normal, what do we call it, temperature and then other things on them. And then we know what is actually happening to them. We provide them with that OP services, and then begin to heal them out of their sicknesses and provide them some counseling as well. So whilst we move with the mobile team, we move along with them and some counselors, psychiatric counselors and then psychologists who can provide them enough counseling to also help them support them to be assessing other wellness facilities and how they can work as well.
Thank you very much, sir. That's Britt Emisah. He is president of the Coalition of NGOs in Health.